What's up, party people? This is Tarkus Jude Mossberg from Facebook. Jude's Junk is a Facebook page, comic book shop. My YouTube channel is Jude's Junk, as well as now my website, Jude's Junk, with all my books. I'm known for collecting 9.8s only, unless it's Silver Age keys, and really get into some of the Signature Series books. And that's kind of the clientele I attract. So I get a lot of books back from CGC all the time. And when some big signings are happening, I might get a lot of books all at once. And I never really take the video called like a CGC unboxing because I don't really enjoy watching those. They're like, ooh, look what I got. Look what I got. Ooh, look what I got. And I'm like, it just is, it's not fun to watch anymore. But some people use those, quote, CGC unboxings to show, hey, this is the new inventory. And I get a lot of new inventory. You can see it up on the boxes there. I got a whole bunch that haven't even been marketed, maybe even entered into CLZ, maybe even in price, like hundreds. And I'm still getting more in, like every regular real comic book dealer, getting more in than we can handle. But I had a bunch right now, a bunch back from Todd McFarlane. I got a bunch back from some of the auctions I just had, and I just thought I'd go through with it. You might find it interesting, you might not. I have some books here that I sent off for a client, and what that means is I have clients from out of the country, and they'll buy from me, and then I'll just ship it straight to CGC for them. Sometimes I'll do the order for CGC myself. Sometimes they'll do the CGC order and it'll just mail straight from CGC to their house. So I have a client in India who has been buying 9.8 books off me for a while. And I have a whole process on how I recommend your best chance to get a 9.8 signed book if you like those. So he buys the 9.8 blue labels off me. I mail them into CGC. And then he pays any of the CGC fees, and then he has to pay shipping over to India, and he's got a comic book shop. I might need to get the name of his shop, if I can even pronounce it, to maybe give him a shout out if anybody happens to be in India. But here's some books he bought for the Todd McFarlane comic shop, and for the Todd McFarlane signing, and I'm thrilled. They're all 9/8. You never know what you're going to get, although my process for guaranteeing 9/8 has gotten much better. And so far, I think I've gotten 25 books back, and every single one of them have been exactly what I sent in. So if I sent in an ASM 300 8.5, came back in 8.5. If I sent in a 9.8, it came back in 9.8. I'm not one of these guys who's hoping for a 9.9, although that would be great. But if I can just get back a 9.8 signed by Todd, I am thrilled. I just did a whole video on Todd, color choosing and placement, and some books not signed, and I'm not really that worried about the color signature and the placement. I'm not that picky. Maybe some buyers are. But I just watched a video this morning of a guy doing an unboxing, and it made me cringe to watch it because almost the whole video was him complaining. The label was messed up here, like it was crunched in. There was a chipping on the corner. Those types of things are easy. CGC pays to mail it back. They fix it and they mail it back to you, and it comes back quickly. Does it take a little bit longer? Sure. Is it a pain? Sure. But they pay for it. They fix it. No big deal. One of his books, he was complaining because it was wavy, and I don't know if people know that pressing, there's paper memory. This is what my presser taught me. And some people disagree with this, but my presser told me there's paper memory, and you can press it, but after a while, especially if you pressed it last October 2025, it'll go back to that wavy. So if you see it wavy, it might be because they pressed it, and I get everything for these CGC signings pressed at CGC, and I've already made videos on why I get them pressed at CGC. These are 9.8 books already. They don't need cleaning. They just need a good cold press, and the fewer hands handling it, I have found out, is better. So anyways, this is my buddy from India. He wanted these 4 books, maybe 5 books, I think. So we got him a Spider-Man 13 signed by Todd. I took it out of the bag. I know there's a little bit of glare, but he's going to be happy with that. I like the signature, nice and white. Just a great looking book. My mouse pad's actually that cover. He got an ASM 312. These are all relatively cheap books, 100, 150, I think. Maybe the ASM 300 is a little bit more. You can see the Todd McFarlane, and he did everybody's Todd. So these are just the books that I'm going to mail off to India. And yeah, he wanted, this is the only one I had left to sell, was the 8.5. So he bought it, sent it in, and got signed. So this is a service I provide to people overseas. I do a lot of business overseas. I do a lot of, I know the customs forms and how to declare it. And tariffs are different because the tariffs change in each country. And you kind of have to know what your tariff laws are if you're going to be bringing books in from the United States. But people buy them from me over here. I send it to a CGC. CGC says some pretty good international shipping rates, maybe even better than what I can get with my discounts. And if they ship directly from CGC to you, the client overseas, then you don't have to worry about me cherry picking the books and sending you the bad books. So if I sent in 3 of these in one order and got back 2 9/8 and 1 9/6, I could conceivably, if I did it all on my order form, send the client a 9/6 and say, that's what it is, you're stuck with it. So I like to tell clients that if they do the paperwork and if they pay for it and it mails straight to them from CGC, there's no way someone can take advantage of them. Also, you don't have to wait for the books to mail all the way back to me, and then I got to turn around and mail them all the way to you, because that's just extra shipping costs. So I like it when clients overseas do their orders themselves. They just email me the PDF. I print it off and put it in the package and just mail it to CGC for him. And a nice little newsstand. So he just got some of the basics. Number 1, 13. He liked that 312. And of course that ASM 300. I just took them out of the bags because I was thinking it'd be easier for you guys to watch them. I don't think I'm going to take all of these out of the bags. But these are my Todd McFarlane books. I'm really kind of a completionist. I have number 11, 9.8 already signed by him. I know I said it earlier, but I only collect 9/8. And so if I end up getting a 9/6, I'd actually be bummed. What I thought was interesting about this book is Todd actually did the art in this little corner. And 11, he does the artwork inside. And then this is his first cover. And on the video, the guy that I just watched, he sent in like a whole bunch of those Infinity 14. And he didn't know what Todd's first books were, which he sent in 4 of them and didn't know that this was actually Todd's first book, Coyote, done by Epic Comics, which is a shoot of Marvel. But anyways, I got 11 and now 13, 9.8, and just thrilled for that. Okay, I'm a completionist. Todd didn't do this cover, no, but he did the artwork inside. I got 2 of these done, 241s. So really thrilled with that. When you send it into CGC and have them do the bagging and boarding, they don't charge it $5 for the bagging, and they don't charge $5 for the cracking. If you use a third-party CGC provider, they will charge $5 to crack it, $5 to bag it, and they'll put a little window somewhere where either they like it or you like it. When you get the window bags at CGC, I believe they put the big window bag that gives Todd a lot of leeway to write wherever he wants. And so another reason I like them pressing it at CCS is that save that $10 on cracking and bagging, and they videotape their process supposedly. And if the book got damaged in their possession, then I can point to it got damaged in your possession. If I send it to a third-party presser, and then there's mailing, and then CGC, they can say, nope, it came in damaged, where here it's all at CGC, and if anything happens to it, I can say, watch your cameras, and if I get a grade I really don't like, I just send it back, and very often they'll give me a bump in grade, because maybe it was a bad grader that day. So anyways, thrilled that I got this finally. I saw this jump up 4 years ago at the Todd signing, and then of course it fell back down to ground. But I've only had this book once in a 9/8 signed. Love it. Sold my last one for $2,800. People were thinking that was crazy. I'll sell this one for $2,800, or I won't sell it. When I put the prices up for books, I put the max price, which is PayPal goods and services, which is in all the fine fees, and then it's taxable income, and taxes are 28 to 38% on comic books in the U.S. So if you don't know that overseas, it's a large tax bite if you pay through any kind of PayPal goods and services. So anyways, $2,800 if you want it financed, $2,800 if you want PayPal goods and services. And then I usually take off 10% for cash, and which is PayPal, friends and family, Venmo, that type of thing, Zelly. Uh, but most of my clients that I've had for a long time, I have a good relationship. We built up trust over the years, and I actually am open to offers from every client. I know some buyers, some sellers don't like it when you make offers. Now, low bid offers, I'm probably not going to even respond to that. I'll give you $1,000 for that book. Okay, no thanks. I can sell a blue label for $1,300. I just sold 5 blue label 9.8s for $1,300 in the last 6 months, even when GPA was showing 900. I do financing, so you can't get financing at those $900 rates. Plus, you have to watch those auctions like a hawk to do that, and a lot of people are busy and don't have time to watch the auctions, so all they can do is go onto eBay. So I try to price it lower than anywhere else in the world in the beginning, and I take money off for discounts. Some regular clients might even get a bigger discount. But anyways, I'm glad to have this back in hand. It's a gorgeous book. I sent off a Batman 423 9.8 CBCS, and I'm crossing my fingers. Never had one of those in a 9.8 signed, and the only one in a 9.8 blue I got was CBCS, so that was risky. This is a fun book. This was actually signed by Dave Sim, not Dave Sims, which I've found that sometimes CGC wrote it that way, but Dave Sim, creator of Cerebus. So I love some of these early Todd books, Spawn and Todd, where I can get both signatures. And they usually go for high prices, $1,000 to $1,500. I got some with some of the Spawn books with Todd and Frank Miller, who worked on it. And this is Spawn 10 with Todd and Dave Sim. And I think I did a Spawn 224 black and white that was signed by Todd and Frank Miller. So I really enjoy getting the multiple artists on some of the Todd books, and specifically I got a Spider-Man 10 signed 4 times. Scott Williams, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld is on actually a Spider-Man 10 if you didn't know that. So I got that in a 9.8 available. So that's a fun book. I got it at a green label right after they announced the JSA. I started buying up green labels, 9.8 green labels, as fast as I could, because they were still going for pennies, 50% of fair market value of a blue label. Forget about the signature. So the qualified ones were going really cheap, and I just bought them up and turned around and got them into a yellow label. Always a good looking book. Marvel Age, number 90. So I sent these in waves. So this was actually one order because it was JSA. These were all one order because that label. And then these, I didn't want the McFarlane label. Frankly, I'm not the biggest fan of this scroll. I like the scroll from 4 years ago, 2001. But these are all Spider-Man in the red suit, and I wanted the red suit. So this was a separate order, and what's still waiting is the Spider-Man's in the black suit. So I have a whole bunch where I want the label to be the Spider-Man in the black suit up there. So anyways, Marble Age. Jim Lee's in the front. I might have to get that signed by Jim Lee if it doesn't sign. Anyways, good looking book. Got that in a trade from somebody. I can't remember where. Okay, so I have all the ASM, not all of them. I have a lot of the ASM Todd stuff in a 9.8 blue label. And I went through, and you can't see it. There's the Todd McFarlane. But this is ASM 303. So I've learned to go through and be picky when I picked out 50 to 60 books to send into Todd, and I look at it, and I look at the corners, and I just did a video that every collector should know how to grade, and I went through my 9.8s, and if there was anything on the book that made it look like a tick, even though it might really be a 9.8, I didn't want to take a chance. So I only got a few of my ASMs signed, because I didn't want to take a chance with the others, because I only want 9.8. This is a $100 book. You put $200 in the Todd signature, you want it to be a 9.8. This is a $50 book in a 9.6, maybe $40. So you don't want to put $200 into a $50 book, and then not even be able to get your money back, which would be $250. So you really put a lot of weight in getting that 9.8. I'm glad the 306. I've always wanted this one signed. I was really happy. I bought a bunch of raws trying to get them graded a few years back, and none of them are going to be good enough, so I ended up selling them raw, but I got me the 306 sign, which I'm very happy about. Again, I like that label better than the Todd labels. This year, maybe 2001, the label. All right, I'm trying to collect all the Marvel Tales that Todd did. And again, I could only send in a handful of them. So 225 Todd cover. You got 226 Todd cover sign, 9.8. All these are for sale. If you see someone you see and that you like, before I price it, market it, put it up on my website, my shop, marketplace. I also do marketplace in addition to my shop. If you want it, and a lot of people know I do trades, and I trade for 9.8 onlys, unless it's a Silver Age key. I love me some Stan Lee signed stuff, John Romita signed stuff, old Silver Age signed. I just got a whole bunch of Silver Age signed books that are some rare stuff. Another Marvel Tales 239. I'm what they call a completionist, so if I can get every single one of Todd's books signed in a 9.8 before I die, that might be the goal, because I'm not selling as many as I had. I'm growing more books than I plan on selling, although what I do sell, I always just take what I sell and turn out and buy more. So if I sell $5,000 worth of books, I buy 5,000 more. If I sell $400 worth of books, I buy 400 more. So this is kind of what I do. I kind of work for free. You might say, well, what do you do for a living? I have other jobs, other businesses. And anyways, your standard, good old-fashioned Spider-Man 1 Todd. These will go quickly. They always do. Huh. What do we got there? That's a newsstand signed by Todd. I have this signed by Todd and Stan Lee, and I have it for $5,000. This one is just signed by Todd. I had two newsstands right before the Todd McFarlane signing event, and someone actually traded me a bunch of Silver Age stuff for the other one, so I only went to send in one. But the other one I have, that's this, signed by Stan Lee, it's got the older label up top, so I might send that in for a reholder at some point. Although, if you've seen my videos, I just sent in a 9.9 book. X-Men #1 from 1990, I believe. It was a 9.9. I sent in for a reholder, and it came back at 8.5. Oh! All right, there's a fun book. True Believer #1, Spider-Man, signed. Always great. Still, I love the red and the red. If you can see I have a whole bunch of these Crane books. I loved them when they came out. I have a whole story about all these Crane facsimiles. I bought all the Crane facsimiles. I got them all signed by Crane here in Boise. It was my first big signing event. Drove 2 hours down to Boise and had them sign them. Didn't want to do CGC because I thought the price was a ripoff. And I sent everything in 2021 to CBCS. 30 books signed by Crane, and they lost all 30 books. They paid me out, but they lost all 30 bucks. So I had given up on these, and then I came across some of the rare virgin ones that were already signed by Crane, and of all those, this was the only one I signed in the Todd one. But I have all of the virgin ones, the black suits, all signed by Crane. So that's kind of a fun, unique one. You gotta like Signature Series if you'd be interested in these books. And I know that a lot of people don't like Signature Series. All right, so this came back from an auction. A lot of people know that I'm a broker. I watch 30 auctions daily, and you would have to spend the kind of time I do to do what I do. And if you can do that, great, but it is a lot of time. Every day, all the auction houses, I put out a post that says, hey, here's all the books over 500 that will be available on auction tonight only. And because sometimes clients will say, these are the books I want in this grade. This is what I'm willing to pay. And I'll watch the auctions and I'll say, hey, this one's coming up. What do you want to pay? He tells me, and I chase it down and I try to grab it. And he gives me the price fully shipped. And then I try to do the math. Most of the places I go to don't charge tax, don't do buyer's premiums. I pay cash, so no buyer's premiums. And then they mail me the book, and I turn around and mail the book to the client. And so they get the book for what they want it for, which is usually under fair market value. And the market is changing, though. And one of the things I keep saying is the bigger blue chip keys are going up. Some of them are still going down. You can see the GPA graph where it's trending down, and it hasn't kind of gone up at the end. But a lot of the blue chips are trending up. So when I'm on there watching these auctions, I'll just pick up stuff that I like. Not an expensive book, but I had one before, and someone went and bought it real quick. So I picked up another one, and the goal is to get it signed by Jim Lee. I always pick up, I get these pretty cheap on auctions. I always like Spawn 1 through 10, Spider-Man 1 through 10. If I sell them, here's a great Ghost Rider 1, number 7. Cheap book, but I pick them up when it's pennies to pick up. Can't say no to a Spawn 9. Probably couldn't have enough of those. I think I just sold my Spawn 9 that was signed by Neil Gaiman and Todd. So if this doesn't sell ever, I'll get a Todd signature. I'll get a Neil Gaiman signature, and then it'll go for $800, $900, $1,000, $1,200 or something. I thought this was fun. Marvel X-Men Collection 1. But what do you notice? A little newsstand action. A little 1992 newsstand action. I bought off the newsstands in the 80s. So I went to the bookstore in Flagstaff, Arizona with my buddy Mike first. We rode our little bikes down, and we'd flip through the little newsstand, and we'd try to get the one in the back that hadn't been bent. We try to get the perfect condition one. And so one of the reasons newsstands go for more isn't just the scarcity, it's more the nostalgia for those of us who actually purchased off the news racks and sitting on the floor reading them and then putting them back if we couldn't afford all of them. And back then they were, well, this was the 90s. This was $3. Jeez. I think I got out before they went up to $3. I think I ended in 92. All right, I have a client that wanted a Mark Spears one. This is actually kind of a rare one. This was they only made 250 copies of this, so I had this available for sale. I'm going to offer it to my client who asked me for Mark Spears one. Sometimes I know what people like, and I'll get it for them, and they may not buy it, and that's okay. I'll just keep it. Have you ever heard of this before? Dreamwalker? Remember I told you how I buy the green labels and then go get it at JSA? Dreamwalker is the first appearance of Goon by Eric Powell. I think there's a TV series coming out. So I just got a Goon 1 for someone. It's like a $1,300 book. Might be more. But anyways, this is the very first appearance of Goon. And you have a signature on it by John Powell down here. And get that JSA certified. And what is that? 50, 60, 70 bucks with shipping. So unless my client, because all they say up here is name written on cover and marker. So I'll send that in, get it JSA certified. And then the last signed book sold for $1,100. So I'll ask my client if he's interested in that. And if not, I'll just have a very cool, unique book. I think there's only 5 of these 9/8 signed in the world. So as you might know, I love me some rare, unique books. That's why the prices are high, because they're rare and unique. But my next set here is also from an auction. They had some big PSA auctions, I think in the fall with Collectors Comics. And so I don't know what the public's view of PSA comics are. In fact, I just posted something about PSA. And if it's a qualified book, they'll have the word qualified up here in tiny print, right above the 9/8. That's all. It's small little print. So what we'd see in CGC is a green label. But qualified can be very, very hidden, and so you got to be careful. This is a heavy book. This is a 2-pound book. It really is. I don't know how they adjust shipping, but this is a heavy book. It's like a paperweight. It's like as heavy as my water bottle filled. Anyways, big, solid book. It just feels sturdy. So I have no problems. That 9/8 Incredible Hulk 340 that you saw me get signed, that was a PSA 9.8. A lot of people are worried about... this was just a great price. I think it's first Puma. Yeah, for second appearance of Puma. When I bought it, I thought it was first. So maybe PSA thinks there's a cameo. So anyways, what was I saying? I just posted something about PSA's grading, and there was a guy that went through and compared the grades of all these cards, not the comic books, but the cards. And he had all of the grading companies, and he'd take the card and he'd crack it out and send it to the next grading company, and crack it out and send it to the next grading company. And in all of them, PSA graded their cards way harsher than CGC and all the other. There's like 3 or 4 card grade. So I think PSA is the go-to standard in the card community, and I'd have to imagine that's what they want to be in the comic book community. So I'm pretty confident today, that could change, that their 9/8s are going to be real 9/8s. Don't get me started on their 10.0s, because they don't do a 9.0. I wouldn't touch their 10.0s with the 10-foot pole. Maybe they're a 9.9 CGC, but I've gotten burned on some 9.9s and 10.0s, so I don't really like playing that game unless I can find a screaming deal on a really wanted book. I have a couple 9.9s that are really cool. All right, another first appearance. Whenever I can get Spider-Man, first appearances at a great deal. First full appearance of Cardiac. This is 244. I think this is a, they don't even say it on there. Isn't this the cameo of Carnage? Or am I messing that up? Anyway, he's got a great deal on that. Battlestar Flag Smasher President Ronald Reagan appearance. Just cheap. You know, I can't help it. I have rules for buying at auctions that I shouldn't buy anything under 200. Sometimes I forget those rules, and I go get these cheap little 9/8s that it costs me more to get it graded than it would to buy one of these at an auction for, under case cost. So I can't help myself on some of those. Always pick up some Todd books. Got these at a screaming deal. 331. I already have this in a newsstand in a gold pedigree label that's available. This is the first Incredible Hulk story by Peter David. Isn't 31 the first? Well, I'm thinking 30 is the first. Doesn't even talk about McFarlane on there. I think 330 is the first cover by Todd, and then this is 331, but it's also the first story by Peter David, which is kind of cool. Anyways, got it cheap. I didn't have a 332 and a 9.8, I don't believe. And then I picked up a 337. I have some banger 345s. I think I still need a 344 and a 9.8. Anyways, I pick up all the Todd books if I can ever find it for, less than case cost. Someone used that term on how much would it cost to send in and grade it and have it shipped back. And you're looking about $50. So if you can get any one of the Todd books in a 9.8 for under $50, it's basically case cost and the book is free. So I try to do that. Anyways, I don't know if you enjoy going through, a CGC unboxing type of thing. I hope it's not look at me and what I've gotten. These are all available for sale. Hopefully I add some fun stories. And my little clicker's broken, but happy hunting, guys.